Hey guys, I'm back in my new office. Things are going well. House is just about done, but I'm back moved in. Anyway, that means I'll be going back to my normal schedule of weekly videos every Sunday and then more videos as well. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to prep for your next big photography trip, whether that be a workshop or if you're just going with a group of friends or you're going solo or even going with a family and you intend to sneak off and take pictures for a day or two. I'm going to give you some tips based on my experience as an assignment photographer traveling all over the world and how I prep my gear, things I do ahead of time in order to ensure that I have a successful trip and I come back with the images that I wanted to capture. So let's get into it. Let's talk photography. Before we get into it, don't forget to check out my online store at justinmott.com. I've got presets on there, I've got prints available that can be delivered to your doorstep with just the click of a button. And I've also got a variety of my online one-on-one classes. The headline of that, or my mega package, is my mentorship program that gives you full access to me. Anyone looking for a big kick in the butt in their photography, this is my most intense course. You can check all that out at justinmott.com. All right, so before I go on any trip, I have sort of an order of operations that I like to do things in, again, to ensure that the trip is successful. So I start with establishing my goals. Now, whatever works for you, you can write that down, you can say it out loud, you can chant it in the shower, whatever works for you. But for me, I set my goals right away, what I'm trying to accomplish. So for an assignment, that's obviously like come back with the best images for my client. For you guys out there doing a photography workshop or going on a trip, think about it. Put some deep thought into like, what do you want to come back with? So if you're coming, let's say you're coming to a workshop with me in Vietnam, what do you want to come back with? Do you want to come back with learning something? Do you want to experiment with a certain type of photography? Do you want to come back with an actual story? Or is there specific images that you want to come back for, just like singles for travel images? Or maybe you're an aspiring photographer and you want to fill some gaps in your portfolio, you want better portraits, or you want better travel images. Whatever that is for you, it's a good practice to actually think about it, get a good idea, and then that'll help you plan the rest of what I'm about to talk about. So you've got your goals, you understand what you're trying to capture in the place that you're going to travel to. So the next thing I would do is my research. So if it's for a personal project, let's say you're coming to Hanoi, right? And you want to do a story about a specific side of culture of Vietnam or something like that. So you want to do some research rather than just like come here and say like, oh, I'm just going to wander around and just go to the hot spots and take pictures. Like if you want to get good pictures, unique pictures, you want to push yourself and you want to set yourself up to take those pictures, you got to do a little bit of research. So sticking with that example of doing a cultural story about Vietnam, you might look in a local paper. Typically, wherever you go, there's typically a local newspaper that has an English language version. So that's a great place to start. Look on there for ideas for stories. Look through their archive for stories that might be interesting. Look at their calendar for upcoming events or events that are going to coincide with you being there. So if you've already locked in your dates, you just want to check out like what's happening while you're there, that would be a good start. Or if it's something very specific, right here, like let's say, for example, the water puppet theater. That's a big thing for people to go to. So, rather than just go and take pictures while you're there, maybe there's a chance for you to get backstage access. Maybe there's a chance for you to follow a performer ahead of time, how they prep, how they practice. So like that's not just reserved for professional photographers like me. You can do it as well. If it's something deeper or harder to get access to, you might want to hire a local fixer, a translator. You can look into those prices and see if that works within your budget, but that could be very helpful. For me, whenever I do stories for any assignment, I need to hire someone locally, not just for the language skills, but also just they can open up doors, they can help you see things, can help explain things. They act as a liaison between you and a brand new culture. It might be worth hiring a fixer, but at the very least, try to set up access before you get there so you're not wasting days once you arrive. Once you arrive, you can kind of jump right into it. It's the same thing goes for street photography as well. Like if you want to go to a certain place and capture interesting street photography, it might be worth it going onto a Facebook page or wherever people are having their photography groups hosted. Go on there, introduce yourself, be polite, ask people if they know any great spots, if they're willing to share those spots. Sometimes people are actually willing to take you around and show you around. Photographers are like very communal, or they can be, maybe not professionals, but amateur photographers, that's why I love them. They're very communal and very helpful. At the very least, they'll tell you where to go, and sometimes people will go with you and show you around, and that could be helpful as well. So the next thing I would do if I were you guys before I would go on my mega trip is to practice the type of photography that you've set in your goal. So what does that mean? Well, let's say if you're doing conceptual photography, or you want to do some sort of new portrait style that you've never done before, different kind of lighting, different kind of composition, well, practice before you go. Practice with a friend. If you've got a budget, then hire a model. But if you can't do that, then work with a friend, work with someone you're comfortable with, work with someone that's willing to help you out. So again, when you get here, because there's so many things to distract you when you're at a new location. You're excited, everything's new, everything's fresh. So if you're trying to sort of figure that out, location, cultural etiquette, and at the same time you're working on a whole new style of photography, that can be overwhelming for a lot of people. So really practice as much as you can leading up to the trip. So you've got your goals, you've got your research, you've planned, and you've practiced. And the next thing I would do is, the fun part is figure out the gear that you need for that trip. So knowing what you want to capture, everything's in your head. You've done this all in the right order. So now that you know all that, sit down, look at your gear, think about what you need, and think about what you don't need. A lot of gear, a lot of equipment will weigh you down, not just physically, but mentally. Having too much stuff in your bag is too much to think about. Let's say, for example, you come here to do street photography. Well, do you need that 70-200? Do you need the 24-70? Or is just a 35 and one camera okay? I don't know, but think about it. I always find that less is more. I always find that I don't need all that gear. I find I get better pictures when I'm lighter on my feet. That's what works for me. I don't know what works for you. Maybe you're okay with a giant backpack with like 20 lenses in there, 30 cameras, and 8 tripods. I don't know, but for me, I find one camera, probably have a backup camera as well, just a fixed 35 for doing my personal projects and street photography. But again, I don't want to impose my gear setup on anyone else. That's just what works for me. The point is that you do an assessment based on your goals, based on the whole plan that you've set out, based on your research, what you have access to, what you've practiced, and only take what you need. And then also do your best to like not do that whole purchasing gear for that trip excitement thing that everyone does. It's very tempting, but you don't need it. If that's a trip you're only gonna do once, don't buy gear based on that one trip. If you think you're gonna do it all the time, then afterwards make that purchase. But for that trip, no need to go splurging on all that gear. You probably have everything you need already. Wow, coffee just went everywhere. You probably have everything you need already, so don't buy new, take less. I hope that makes sense. And my last piece of advice is to have fun, relax a bit. Don't put so much pressure on yourself to get these amazing once-in-a-lifetime shots. Enjoy yourself, enjoy the experience. I've gone on plenty of trips, done assignments where I didn't get my best shots, but I've learned something from every single trip. And all this planning and prepping, all this hard work that goes in ahead of time is to help you be relaxed when you've arrived. If you've planned everything carefully, if you've done your research, put yourself in the best position to get the best shots you can possibly get. And if that's your goal, is to come back with great pictures, then you're going to be relaxed and you're going to be in the best mindset, the best state to get the best possible pictures. Sometimes you don't get what you expected, but you learn something from every single shoot that'll help you on your next shoot. That's all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions, ask me in the comment section. I do my best to answer every single question that's out there. Don't forget to visit my website at justinmott.com, where I've got presets, I've got prints, and I've got all of my online classes available for purchase directly through that website. And if you like my channel and you want to support it, don't forget to join the channel. It's only $4.99 a month, and that's not just to support me. I give you guys bonus content, early release content, all sorts of little perks on there. Check that out. Just hit the join button, $4.99 a month. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to have a wonderful day.